Alright, so vision. So the organs that you use to see are your eyes. I know it's really hard, but you use your eyes to see. You also have a lot of other supporting structures that help to nourish the eyes and keep them protected and take care of them. Okay, so you've got lots of different kinds of structures that are going to take care of your eyes, and here are some of them. Right? So you've got your eyebrows and your eyelashes that do help to protect your eyes. Okay, so your eyelashes are there to help keep like dust and any sort of like thing that's trying to get into your eye away. Okay, so stuff does get caught in your eyelashes that will would normally just go into your eye and it would be very painful. Right, so your eyelashes do protect your eyes. Your eyebrows as well. Your eyebrows help to protect your eyes because when you sweat, right, sweat drips down. What does it do? It goes into your eyebrows and then goes around, right, and then typically kind of like goes down the side of your face. Sometimes if you sweat, like on your forehead, right? If you're sweating on your forehead, a lot of it comes down here and then goes around to your eyebrows. Sometimes if you're sweating a lot though, it can like get into your eyes, right? If you're sweating super a lot. And then it stings and then it doesn't matter, right? So your eyebrows are there to protect your eyes. Your eyelids serve two functions, also protection. So if something's like coming at you, right, what's the first thing that you do?
Blink.
Yeah, you close your eyes, right? Okay? And the reason for that is you want to protect those eyeballs from stuff, and so you close your eyes to prevent your eyes from getting injured. Also, like really bright light, right? What happens? You like squint your eyes or like close your eyes because it's too bright. You do that to protect your retina, the back of your eyes, from getting damaged. Alright? So they do protect your eyes as well. They also help with lubrication of your eyes. So you produce tears, okay, and the blinking of your eyelids actually moves the tears across your eye. So it helps to keep your eyeballs wet, basically. Alright? You have muscles that move your eyeball. So lots of different kinds of muscles that give you all the different ranges of motion that you can do with your eye. Side to side, up and down, and all around, right, when you roll your eyes. Okay? Those are the different muscles that are attached to your eyeball that are allowing you to do that. Which is good, right? You want to be able to like just move your eyes to look at something. If you couldn't move your eyes, right? I see something over here, I have to go like move my whole head that way. Right? So it's good to just be able to glance around and stuff. You can be much more aware of your surroundings much quicker. The lacrimal apparatus, those are what are actually producing your tears. So those are the your tear ducts, which are actually like right behind like your brow bone right there. Okay, they're like almond size, and they produce tears that come into your eyeball. Okay, and then when you blink, your tears move across your eye, and then you have two little holes like at the corners of your eye that drain your tears into your nose, your nasal cavity. That's why if you cry, right, what happens? Your nose gets all runny and stuffy, right, because you're producing excess tears and they're coming and filling up your nasal cavity. So, you produce tears and they help to keep your eye wet. And in those tears that you produce, you actually have this protein called lysozyme, which is an enzyme that kills a lot of bacteria and stuff that gets into your eyes. So, if you take your fingers and you touch your eye or wipe your eye or whatever, bacteria gets into your eye. And so lysozyme is there to eat it, make sure it actually doesn't give you an eye infection. So it's there to protect your eyes. So here's your pictures. So of your actual tear producing organ. So here, this is where your tears are actually produced, right? So they start here, enter your eyeball, move across your eye, and then you have two holes, right, that absorb that excess water or your tears that go into your nasal cavity and then drain into your lungs. So that's what it looks like. Pretty cool, huh?
What's the purpose of tears?
All right, layers of your eyeball. So you have three major layers to your eye. The first layer of your eye is called the fibrous and it consists of the cornea and the sclera. Okay, so it's the outermost layer. The cornea is the part in front of your pupil and your iris. Okay, and it's clear, so it actually allows light through. The sclera is the white of the eye. So when you look at somebody's eyes, everything that's white there, that's the sclera. Okay, and like it goes all the way around the rest of the eye. Okay, it's kind of a tougher connective tissue consistency and helps to keep the shape of your eyeball like round. Okay, that's the sclera. Covering the sclera, and also here, let me show you a picture. Okay, so covering the sclera and the inside of your eyelids, you have what's called the conjunctiva, which is an epithelial tissue layer. When you get pink eye, or conjunctivitis, which is the technical name for it, that's the layer of tissue that's getting infected. Is that layer of epithelial tissue that covers the sclera and the inside of your eyelid. Okay? And so that gets infected and it turns all red because it gets inflamed, right? And then you get like all the nasty, leaky stuff that comes out of your eye as your eye tries to like deal with the infection.
So does it like hurt? Or?
Yeah, pink eye can hurt, right? Like it's not like your eyeball feels kind of like scratchy a little bit. No. The second layer of your eyeball is the vascular tunic. Okay, and the vascular tunic consists of what's called the choroid, which is actually like this layer that has all of the blood vessels for the retina. So it carries around the blood vessels to nourish the retina. It also has melanin in it. Okay, and that melanin makes it kind of look black, right? Because there's so much melanin concentrated in there, and the purpose of that is to absorb any excess light. So when you're seeing, you don't want like light bouncing around all over inside your eyeball because you wouldn't be able to see very well. Okay, so it's got this dark melanin pigment in there to help to absorb any excess or stray light to help make sure that your vision's pretty acute. Okay, so pretty cool. It also has the ciliary body. The ciliary body consists of the ciliary muscles and also of the ciliary fossa. Okay, the ciliary fossa secretes something that's called aqueous humor. I'll tell you more about that later. But it's there to secrete this liquid to help to nourish the lens. And the ciliary muscles are the actual muscles that are kind of attached to the lens through some fibers and change the shape of the lens to focus your eyes. So the ciliary muscles help to focus your eyes. And then you've also got the iris. Okay, the iris is that colored part of your eye. It's made out of muscles. You have two types of muscles: circular muscles and radial muscles. And those respond to the amount of light by either, in low light conditions, opening your iris even more, your pupil even more, so that more light is allowed in. And in bright light conditions, making that pupil smaller so that less light can come in. Right? And it helps you to be able to see. And then the pupil is that actual hole in your eyeball that allows the light to come in. So this is a picture of your iris and your pupil. Okay? So pupil in the middle, and then the iris around. So these would be colors, right? Brown, blue, green, depending on your eye color. So normal light conditions, okay, you can see we've got the radial muscle, right? Or sorry, the circular muscle, which is around, and then the radial radiates out like that. Okay, and so in normal light conditions, okay, this is what it would look like. If you go into bright light, the circular muscle contracts, okay? And when the circular muscle contracts, pupil gets smaller, right? Which allows less light in, which is good because if you, again, bright light and all of that light comes in, then you're not going to be able to see very well. So it helps to reduce the amount of light that's coming in. Yeah, because your eyes hurt because your pupils are adjusting rapidly, right? And your irises are doing the work for that. And then if you go in dim light, okay, the circular muscles relax and the radial muscles contract, and then you open that pupil up bigger to allow more light in so you can see better. Yeah. Okay, the third layer of your eyeball is your retina. Okay, that's the part that actually allows you to see. So you have two layers in the retina. You have the neural layer and a pigmented layer. The neural layer is actually an outgrowth of your brain. So when you're in the womb and you're developing, okay, part of your brain actually grows out and becomes the retina of your eyeball. Okay, so you get like two little outgrowths of your brain that become your retina. So kind of weird, but that's the way it is. You have inside of this neural layer, you have three different layers inside of there. You have the photoreceptor layer, which is the rods and cones, okay, which are the actual cells that collect the light and allow you to see. And then you've got a bipolar cell layer and a ganglion cell layer. And we'll talk more about those. But the ganglion cell layer, those are neurons, and the axons of those neurons come together and they form the optic nerve that goes back into your brain. Right? I'll show you a picture. And where that optic nerve exits that eyeball, that's your blind spot. That's a little spot. There's no rods or cones. You can't see in that spot of your eye. Normally, your brain just kind of fills in the gap. Okay? But there are certain things that you can do that actually show you where your blind spot is. So in your book, actually, there's this thing where you can, if you cover one eye and you look at like the cross on one side, if you move it to a certain spot, you won't be able to see the little square that's there next to it because that's right where your blind spot is. So if you open your book, you can actually see that and try that. That's right where your optic nerve is, going back to your brain. And then the pigmented layer just is behind the rods and the cones, and it also helps to absorb any light, right? So it helps to kind of act as a light absorber. Okay, so here's your eyeball. So this part here on the outside, that's the sclera, right, the white part of your eye, and then your cornea is in the front, that's the clear part of your eye that allows light through. This is your lens, okay, and then you've got this red, what's it called, the red layer. Okay, that's your choroid, and then you've got your ciliary muscles and the ciliary body, and then your iris. Okay, and then the yellow part, that is your retina. Okay, we'll actually dissect a cow's eyeball. All right, you have two cavities in your eye. You have the anterior cavity, which is front cavity, and then you have the vitreous chamber or the posterior chamber, which is the bigger part of your eye. Those two chambers are separated by your lens. Okay, that front chamber is filled with the fluid called aqueous humor. Okay, and that fluid helps to nourish the lens and the cornea. Why? So the lens and the cornea don't have any blood vessels. Okay? And so they need this aqueous humor to nourish them, to bring them oxygen and glucose, and to take away all sorts of byproducts. So why do you think you don't want your lens or your cornea to have blood vessels? Why can you be able to see as well? It's red. Okay, it blocks the light. Yeah. So that's where the light's passing through to get to the retina, right? If you have blood vessels all through there in the front, it's going to be a problem. Right? You may like be looking through X's and like all of the capillaries. That would be weird. Wouldn't work very well. So we don't have that. The aqueous humor helps to nourish that lens. So you actually create and completely change all of that aqueous humor that's in that front part of your eyeball every hour and a half. So the ciliary body produces it, and it nourishes all of that stuff, and then gets reabsorbed into your bloodstream, and perpetually is doing that every hour and a half. When you go to the eye doctor and they check like the pressure of your eye, okay, to see if you have glaucoma or whatever, what they're checking is the pressure in that front chamber. Okay, and so if something's preventing it from like getting absorbed back into the blood, it starts to build up, and your eyes get lots of pressure in them. And then the vitreous chamber, okay, that's the back chamber. It is filled with what's called the vitreous humor. It's kind of like a jelly-like substance, and its job is to hold the retina against the choroid layer, so it can get lots of nutrients that it needs. So, oh, I want my picture. So here you go. So this is the anterior chamber, this is the vitreous chamber. So you've got a gel-like substance in here, keeps the retina attached to the choroid later. And that is never replaced. You're born with that, stays like that your whole life. That